Hey everyone, Duke here, and Grandmaster Nightfalls are now available. This week is double Nightfall loot, along with the Hung Jury as the weekly weapon. One change for this season are Nightfall ciphers, which you can get from completing Grandmaster Nightfalls with a platinum score by killing all champions, and acquiring 10 of these will allow you to get an extra weapon roll at Zavala. This week's GM is Proving Grounds, so we are going to go over some tips to help you complete it. For most teams, the tank room and the boss room are going to be the two most difficult pain points, so those are the two rooms I'm going to focus on. My first tip is going to be right before you drop into the tank room. If you kill a few adds from up top, it's going to spawn in the first set of enemies and interceptors. If you stay up top here to kill the first interceptor on the left and the first one on the right before dropping down, you'll save yourself a lot of pain and potential headaches. Those interceptors can easily kill an unsuspecting guardian, and if both sides are up as well as the one that spawns in the back, it can be difficult to stay in cover from all of them as well as the other adds that are going to be there. Once you do drop into the tank room, you're going to want to focus on the two snipers on the left and right top sides, as they have high ground on you and will be one of the more threatening enemies if and when you need to rotate it all from side to side. Other than that, focus on the multitude of mini-bosses and barrier champions near the middle, putting priority on any that may push up on you and your team. After you kill everything in this first set of adds, the second set of enemies, including the tanks, are going to come out. Once again, I would prioritize getting the two snipers down on those same top platforms ASAP, and have your team try to prioritize getting one tank down as quick as possible as well. Just like with the interceptors, it's easier to stay in cover from one threatening enemy versus more than one. One other tip I'd give for this part is to not be afraid to rotate from side to side. The enemies will tend to aggro the side that you're on, so by rotating past them, if things get a bit too hot on your side, you could rotate past them to give yourselves a bit of breathing room between you and the enemies. Moving towards the boss room, the absolute number one tip I can give is to rotate, rotate, and rotate. The far back of the room where the boss spawns is going to be the best cover you have in this room. Do note that when rotating from side to side underneath the boss's dome, the ground can light on fire, so be sure to always jump through and rotate fully across. When the boss does the fireball attack, you can of course just shoot the fireballs, but the balls tend to track you, which can allow you to easily use the corner of this cover to peek in and out, and allow the fireballs to hit the wall in front of you, keeping you safe. Do also note that glaives are unstoppable this season and a good option for this GM, and can help assist in tanking the fireballs with the block of the glaive as well. After pushing the boss to their first third health checkpoint, the boss will go into their dome and spawn two unstoppables, one from each side. I would highly suggest focus firing down one of these unstoppables immediately, because it's going to be a lot easier to deal with just one unstop than two. If you don't kill one right away, then suddenly you've got two coming from potentially different sides. You don't want that, so basically be ready to kill one right as they come out, melt it, and then focus on the other one, melt that one as well. That's all you're going to have to deal with, and then you can go to focusing on the boss. After killing the Unstoppables, I would recommend just waiting out the fireball attacks unless you are super comfortable in terms of being able to kind of do a lot of things at once, as they do stop after 13 sets of fireballs. When you're going inside to break the dome and continue the fight, you can kind of play a triangle approach around the boss and try to pass the aggro and use some of the different covers so that you can get a couple shots in to break this dome. Just make sure, again, go in, get a shot or two off, get back to cover, because the boss will melt you if it starts aggroing you and if you don't have any cover in between you and the boss. Also note that you can use the node itself that you're going to be shooting as cover between you and the boss once the fireballs are done to make this part pretty safe. And finally, you can also think about running Skyburners Oath in this GM, as it is solar for the solar singe, unstoppable, and does extra damage to Cabal. And not only that, but it can shoot through the boss's dome in order to break the shield from the outside. I'm personally not a huge fan of how this weapon feels, but it's definitely the GM to break it out on if you do enjoy this weapon. On the second set of unstops, again, we want to kind of do the same thing we did the first time, want to focus down one unstop as quickly as possible, but just note that the boss will be above you here, so you really want to keep an eye out for those fireballs and an ear out for those fireballs if you got this game sound on, because if those fireballs come down from above you, you're not going to really be able to use the dome as cover as easily as you can when the boss is in the middle of the room. So you just kind of, again, remember that you can pass underneath the dome from side to side, then the fireballs will hit that. That can keep you a lot safer. And again, keeping your team a little bit split up here can be useful as well. Just A, to be able to either shoot the fireballs or at least call out when they're coming and exactly where they're coming, and B, to again split a little bit of the aggro just on the unstops and the boss. But again, you want to make sure you at least focus down one unstop as quickly as you can, so then you're just focusing on the second unstop. Once you've killed these unstops, the final shield break is actually quite a bit easier than the first. Just have one person on each side jump up and take some shots at the little node as possible, and again, if you can, use the cover from the node itself between you and the boss, but this one's a little harder just because of where the boss is standing and you have to jump up there, but just jumping up and down, taking your time. If the boss starts aggroing you, just drop down, go to the other side, shoot it from there. If you have one person on each side, that makes it even easier because the boss can obviously not shoot both directions at the same time, so keep that in mind. From here, all you got to do is slay out the remaining couple adds that will spawn in on this last round, and then it is only the boss between you and the completion of the Proving Grounds GM. I hope this Proving Grounds GM guide was helpful for those of you looking for some of the Nightfall loot, or going for Conquer, or whatever else you may be doing for this GM. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.